All right. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. This is Pat Taylor here. Just wanted to check in with you, and let's we're gonna go over why you need to have an online business. And hold on just a second. I'm gonna change something up here. I'm gonna hang up on myself. There we go. I was testing this out with my cell phone this morning, and it was very distracting to have the cell phone going with the speaker on as well. All right, let's try again. Here's a little sound test. Good morning, good morning, good morning. This is Pat Taylor, and Learn with Pat. And this morning we are going to study exactly why it is that today in 2019 we need to have our own online business. First thing I want to do is, you can listen to all of the different talking heads and people telling you how great the economy is today and things are booming and things are great, and everybody in Washington has wants to paint a rose. Well, not everybody. Half the party, half of them want to paint a rosy picture. The other half want to paint a terrible picture, bleak picture. Let's look at reality and let's look at what's really going on. And all I have to do, I started my working life about 1981. I was just getting out of high school. My dad had got me a summer job at a place called Dennison Manufacturing Company. It's now called Avery Dennison, and you might recognize that Avery term a little more. But they were a retail printing company, big industrial type machines and printing. And 1981. Housing costs. Let's look at housing costs. Our apartment, we had a three-bedroom apartment, three-bedroom, one bath, in a nice neighborhood, pretty average place. How much do you think that was? I'll tell you what it was. It was $150 per month, right? $150 per month. Now, and a decent car, you could get a decent car. My Datsun B210 was $850, and when I bought it, it was about 3 years old. Had a little bit of rust on it, but overall, it was a very mechanically sound and good running, great car. And wages was about $350 a week. And that's basically that was a minimum wage job, or maybe a little over minimum wage. I think I made like $7 an hour or something like that. But there was overtime. This reflects some overtime. They were working as hard in the summers, but weren't making a lot of money. Nobody could today, if you made $350 a week, you'd probably be on food stamps, right? But back in the day, $350 was a lot of money. I want to contrast that with the rent, right? This is rent for a nice apartment in a nice neighborhood. I was making every week. I was making over double, right? More than double my monthly rent. Let's look in 2019, just to give you an idea of, right? And we're going to use the same housing, car, and wages. So housing, that same apartment goes for about $800 to $900. We'll say $850 today. Your average car that would be equivalent to what that was then would be about $8,000 today. I bought that car cash. It's hard to buy a car cash today to save up $8,000. And wages, here's the thing, right? If you want to keep up with 1980s buying power today, right? So if you were making more than double, let's just double this, right? Let's say 17. Let's say You would have to make $1,700 per week to equal your buying power of 1981. Why is that? What happened between then and now? Well, I'm going to tell you one thing. It's called the Fed, the Federal Reserve. They print money out of thin air, right? They do what you and I would go to jail for doing. Let's say somebody comes to you and says, "Hey, I want $1 million. Do you have $1 million in the bank?" But what if you could write them a check, and that check was recognized by car dealers, banks, housing, whatever? It was recognized as legal tender. Well, that's what the Federal Reserve does. But here's the problem: every time that they print money from nothing, basically do exactly what you and I would do in our basement or with our checkbook, and without actually having any commodity to back it, because we've been off the gold standard since 1971. There's no commodity. We are 100% what they call fiat currency. Fiat is just a pronouncement, right? A king or ruler makes a fiat. It's money because I said so. That's what the Federal Reserve is, right? It's money because I said so. We have a fiat currency. It's only worth something not because of a commodity backing it up like gold or silver, right? It's a commodity because some guy said it is. He made a pronouncement and said, "This is worth this." But here's the problem: every time they print money, the money that you have in the bank becomes worth less and less and less. So you're storing your money here. Unfortunately, every time they make another run, they print another trillion out, and this is your government's running deficit spending, right? They're actually crashing the economy. I believe that they know what they're doing. I think it's a planned crash, and somebody's going to make off with a lot of money and basically put us in economic slavery. But so here's the problem: your wages, right? I would say probably average wage, maybe average non-skilled, because we're talking right, we're talking here. This is non-skilled labor right here. This is minimum wage non-skilled labor. I don't know many people working in a non-skilled factory type environment or retail environment that are making $1,700 a week, right? Lucky if you're making maybe $400 to $500. That's more realistic, and even five. And I'm talking about what you bring home, by the way. This is after tax money, right? How many people, non-skilled laborers, are bringing home $500 a week? Not many. Okay, so this is why you need to have a different idea about how to earn money today. Because this, the gentleman, right, worker gentleman right here, it's only got so many hours in a day, right? We all have 24 hours in a day. Here's the problem: you have to sleep, you have to eat, you need to spend time with your family, right? So, the average workday is 8 hours, 56 hours a week, right? 8 times 7. If you work every day and don't even take a day off, you get 56 hours. Maybe you work some overtime. All right. Maybe you work 70 hours a week, right? At some point, I'm just making the point here. At some point, you're out of hours, and you don't have enough hours in the week to get to this level of buying power. You can't do it. So what happens? So, my dad would go to work, and my mom, when the children were young, my mom would stay home from work. She would raise the kids, right? It's my attempt to draw a woman here, right? So maybe this guy, unskilled labor, brings home $500, and maybe this is labor goes home. Maybe she brings $500, right? Even working together, and this is actually a very rosy picture right here because it's probably more like $800 combined, right? Four and four. So say they bring home $800 a week, still barely squeaking by, right? But now mom and dad are both working, right? He's got a sad face. They're both working. What are they going to do? And with mom and dad both working, if they have any little worker bees here, right? Maybe they got two kids. What do they do with them while mom and dad are both working? Well, now they need childcare. So now your childcare is eating into this $400. It's just a downward spiral. All right, so we know that it's a sad picture, right? We're going to so let's start over. We understand that it's a bad picture. We understand we're in a deficit spending mode. This is the reason why people can't seem to get ahead, no matter how good your job seems to be. You can't get ahead because uh, costs are spiraling out of control, and inflation. And inflation, by the way, is not the increase of goods and services. That's a result of inflation. Inflation is the actual increasing of the money supply. And that happens every time the Fed prints money out of thin air to bail out some bank or to cover some deficit spending that the government puts us in, hundreds of billions of dollars every year, right? Maybe $1 trillion. I think we're approaching $1 trillion of debt that the government puts us in every single year that they want to fund things that they don't have the actual money for. So the Fed increases the money supply, gives the federal government the money they need. Now we're paying interest on money that heretofore did not even exist. All right, it's just the biggest Ponzi scheme and scam in history of mankind. But we can't fix all that, right? We can't demand. I mean, we can vote for people that we think are going to get us out of that, but Washington is so broken right now. I don't think you can do that. What are you going to do as the common everyday citizen? What weapon, what tool do we have at our disposal to fix this problem? Well, I submit to you that the internet is going to be a way that some people are able to do this. And this is not going to appeal to everybody, and not everybody has the interest in this. Not everybody has the technical chops. Not everybody has the foresight to understand even what's going on. Not many people get what I've just told you about Federal Reserve and deficit spending. Most people don't. It doesn't even register with them. They're just out there trying to make a living, and they're trading hours for dollars every day. But as we've seen, trading hours for dollars is a zero-sum game, and at the end of the day, you have to do something else. This is why I advocate learning to use the internet to build, whether it's your full-time income or an additional stream of income. There is no, you're out of the game of trading hours for dollars. All of a sudden, hours for dollars. And when I talk about trading hours for dollars, right, I'm talking about your um, I pressed the button. I should press it. So there's a button on this pen. Draw, draw. There we go. All right, don't hit that pen button. That button there. All right, so when I talk about trading hours for dollars, I'll talk about you go into work, you work for somebody for a salary, 30, $10 per hour, $5 per hour, $18 per hour, whatever, right? Trading hours for dollars. You're going to go and you're going to spend a certain amount of time at that business, and you're going to work at producing something for them. Think about this. Now, your 8 hours a day that you put in, right? You're actually working at that place. But the boss, right? He's got a big stomach because he's been eating out at fancy restaurants, right? Your boss, he's getting the benefit of your 8 hours and the benefit of your coworkers' 8 hours, and their 8 hours, right? Their 8 hours. However many employees are there, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? You have 40 hours. And he might have been off doing something else. He might have been in France on the French Riviera, right? Might have been gambling at a casino out there making money. I don't know. But you guys were putting in 40 hours, and maybe he had to pay you, uh, let's say you got $100 a day, so he had to put in $400 to your labors. But hopefully, if he's a good businessman, he's making, let's say you're good productive workers and you brought in $1,000 in whatever product, right? You can sell whatever you made for $1,000. Well, that's a $600 profit, right? While he was off, not even on site, right? Say he makes $600 every day. So what I'm saying is taking that concept and let's go to work at the internet. Let's say you have a URL, you have a web page. This is a web page, right? Text, you're selling something, picture of the something that you're selling, and at the bottom of the page is very rudimentary. There's a buy button, right? Now, how many hours a day? You don't have to be on the internet, right? You create this thing, right? You create this one time. So it might take you what? When you get good at doing it, it might take you maybe an hour to make this thing, right? And now this is online 24/7, 365, right? This is online 24 hours a day, 365 days a week, or a year, 365 days a year, right? That's your salesman. This is your salesman selling a product. You're selling whatever this is, whatever, we're not going to Even identify this product, whatever the product is that you're selling. This guy is out there 365 days a year selling your product, always available day or night. You don't have to be in here, right? This is you. You're going to take a page from your boss, right? Like your boss over here, he doesn't have to be at the mill or factory or retail shop 24 hours a day. He's got you there. You're going to take a page from him, right? You're going to be doing whatever you need to be doing. Maybe you've got another job. Maybe you got a regular retail or manufacturing job or some kind of business where you go. When you're making money over there, this guy is making money for you online, right? Now, how do you get people to this thing? Well, that's the question everybody wants to know. That's the secret sauce of internet marketing, right? There's paid methods, where you pay for traffic, and there are free methods. And the free methods usually involve social media, something where you actually have to participate in. I'll tell you, this is where you really want to be, right? Paid advertising, you get traffic. That's L for lead, right? So in the paid traffic mode, you pay for the leads, costs you a little bit of money, and their eyeballs are going to view your ad. When your ad is going, a certain number of those people, hopefully it's targeted. One of the keywords here is targeted traffic, right? You want people that are interested in the type of thing that you're selling, right? So if you're a real estate agent and you're trying to sell a house, right? What do you put your house in? Where do you advertise? You advertise in the real estate magazines that you see at the supermarkets, right? You advertise on Realtor.com. You advertise in places where houses are being sold, right? So depending on whatever product you're selling, you want to get targeted traffic. The people that are looking at those real estate magazines that's targeted traffic, because all the people that you would assume that are looking at houses are, they might be interested in buying a house or selling a house, right? So once you get targeted traffic looking at your offer, a certain number of those people are going to turn into customers, right? And they're going to spend money on your product. This all happened, by the way, while you were doing something else, right? You did not have to spend your time standing at this website. The entire transaction took place. You invested in traffic. The traffic was sent to your page that you had previously set up. That took you maybe a few hours to build, but that was the extent of it. These people eyeballs now are viewing your page that you created, and if you may, there's a lot of things that go into this: compelling ad copy, pictures, headline. It's like 75% right of the of getting people to stick and look at what you have to offer, right? So there are elements that you can use on the web page itself. But at the end of the day, a certain number of people click the button, right, the buy button, and the page did a couple of things, right? They handled it. They took the money. They handled the transaction, and it put in motion the delivery of the product. Now, if it's digital, it can automatically send it right to their email, all right, or give them instructions on how to get it. If it's a physical product, you might just, if you're doing the physical delivery of the product itself, you might have to actually box something up and take it to the post office. But there are also methods. You could have things drop ship. You can be completely out of the delivery process also without having to warehouse things. And in subsequent lessons, we'll talk about all of these things. But let's just say, in a nutshell, you set that up, right? So took the order, took the money, deposited right to your bank account, delivered the product so you didn't have to do anything, and hopefully put them on your mailing list, an email list, so that they continue to get emails from you, marketing emails. Maybe you have an upsell to this product. Maybe there are complementary products, right? So if somebody bought, say, a tool, you go to the tool store, right? And you buy a circular saw. So you're in the construction industry. Well, maybe you need a hammer. Maybe you need a screwdriver set. Maybe you need an awl. Maybe you need, you can continue to sell products that make sense to this person uh, once they've become your customer. Keep in touch with them. Give them handy information on maybe how to use that product more efficiently. Give them good information that they will appreciate from you. Maybe you give them a special deal because they're a past customer and you have a new product. Maybe you'll give them a little break on a product and make it worth subscribing to your email list. So, and then this is revenue too. There's an old saying, the money is in the list. Now, back here, you had to pay for this traffic. You had to pay uh, someone, whether it was an online magazine or even an offline magazine that had a web address on it, or an email list, somebody else's email list. You had to pay to get someone else to get this traffic because they controlled those leads. However, right, once they come over here and they're part of your mailing list, right, you pay nothing for these ads. Right now, they're your customers, and you can communicate with them on a regular basis as much as you want, much as is reasonable and makes sense. And it doesn't cost you any more money. These two aspects of the internet, these are key right here. Right? You've got a page, you get your salesman, your page is your salesman, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, never takes a vacation, never calls in sick, never complains about his salary, never goes to HR with a equal rights complaint against you, never, just is faithfully up and running every second of every day, selling your products, collecting your money, delivering your products, and then automatically putting them on a mailing list. And by the way, you can automate this mailing list. It might be a specific pattern. You don't have to always be right. You could automate your mailing list. So the one time you create the mailing list, you create the letters in that they get and time them to go out, whether it's every day, every week, whatever makes sense. And start the process all over again. You send them another email letter, right? And sends them maybe to another web page with another buy button. So really the only goal is to get this traffic, build your list, build your customer list, and it's a process. That's your money making process. And how many hours do you spend doing this? well, you have to tweak your advertising once in a while. You got to keep an eyeball on it. But maybe this is another 2 or 3 hours every week out of your week. At some point, this could actually rival your income from what you're trading hours for dollars for. It could actually surpass it. Because how many of these can you make? How many of these systems can you build? And how many different fields are there? Conceptually, this is what we're talking about. So I just want to share that with you today to give you a different idea. Because unless you figure out a different way to than trading hours for dollars, there's just no way to keep up. There's just no way to keep up because the Fed is printing money faster than you can go out and work for. So that's my 2 cents for today. I hope this has been enlightening. I hope this has opened your eyes a little bit to possibilities of what could be, what can happen in the using the internet as a tool to build an income. This is Pat Taylor with Learn with Pat, and we're checking out for today. But I hope you'll really take this to heart and consider this. There's more to come, more like this to come, and we look forward to working with you. Have a great day.